podcast listeners have spoken.
Every time I hear that song, man, like it's funny. Like I don't know why that song. It's. I mean, obviously, it's just music that we found on. But it kind of does something for me every now and then.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like every week.
It gets us ready to crack a cold one. Yeah.
And why are we cracking cold ones today, there, Mr. Farley?
Because my ass is getting old.
Mm-hmm.
Little 46 years
day.
on this earth today.
Yeah. So. Mr. Farley has made 46.
Yeah.
Glorious.
I'm really surprised I'm still here, to be honest with you.
But I mean, the principal back in the 90s said I'd never make it to this age. Look at me now.
That's right. All right, so just a little update, actually, on the podcast download situation, which I need to pull up. So our monthly record for podcast downloads was set in April at 155. Well, we've put out the challenge to podcast listeners, and they have answered the challenge because so far in May, and I'll share the screen. Let's share this tab. Okay. So in May, we are currently at 203 downloads. So we've blown the 155 out of the water.
Sweet. And we got a week and change to go. We got 2 more episodes to go.
That's right.
In the next weeks, yeah. Next week will drop just in time.
Yep.
So
we're up 75% from this same time period in April. And we also put out the challenge to the individual states to see, if anybody can dethrone Ohio from the monthly podcast standings. And it's been tight, man. Oregon is giving Ohio a run for their money.
Hey, so. Listen. Close only counts in 2 things, my good man. It only counts in 2 things.
That's
and we ain't playing horseshoes and we ain't throwing hand grenades. So
that is a fact.
Until it goes down.
California is right there too. So we got Ohio at 33, Oregon at 30, California at 28, rounding out the podium.
That's not bad.
Washington has 20.
For me, I just love the spread. Like I love the spread. Like it really is kind of cool. We got like it's cool to see Virginia in there because like for me, this was like I'm sure like this is no coincidence. You look at this and it's major. It's obviously very major, like trail running heavy communities, right? Like you have Ohio. Like people might be sleeping on Ohio trail running, but man, Ohio has a absolutely phenomenal trail running community, super strong, great ultra community, and like the wild thing about Ohio's trail running community is it literally stretches from like the Cuyahoga Valley National down through like Mo, where you and I, is our home fields, our home courses, all the way down into like Hocking, down where like Michael Owen is. And then, like, even when you go over, like, Feral Hog, who Pete Griggs used to love, like, over in there, they got their little, like, pocket over there, too. So, Ohio has a big, huge, but anywho, so now you have Ohio represented like that.
Yeah.
But, you look at Virginia, right? And, like everyone knows, like, Virginia. If you don't know about Virginia's trail running scene, like, what are we doing? What are we talking about? I mean, you got the second oldest 100 in the nation, in Virginia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, you got, Grindstone out there, and then you got all the stuff over there. Yeah, you got all the Yeti stuff over there. West on the Hellbenders, North Kakalaki, but you got it right below it.
North Carolina.
Yeah, North Kakalaki.
No, absolutely. Yeah. That whole area there. Shenandoah Valley, Massanutten, which we're going to talk about tonight.
Massanutten, right there. Yeah, and then obviously.
I think Virginia,
Pacific Northwest.
I think Virginia also had some of the keep trail running weird awards participants that were maybe some of our listeners.
Yeah. So I mean,
So,
yeah, Virginia's just a cool. Like it is. I mean, I'm not going bullshit. It ain't where I prefer to trail run. Like that stupid ass state has snatched my lunch twice. You know what I mean? It's like
super
you know
technical.
what I mean? Like, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's on, right? Oregon, can you do it? Can you overcome this 3-point deficit with like a little over a week to go? And California is right there in the mix. So come on, people in my current home state, you can do this.
My new home.
Yeah, my 5.5-year home in Washington, Pacific Northwest. I mean, got a lot of trail runners up there. So, anyways, let's move on to some news and this is like really cool news actually because we know this guy.
Speaking of Ohio having great ultra running community, like this is badass. I knew he was doing this. I knew it was something he had been like kind of like knocking out a street, very frequently. The article says he's doing one a day. I knew he was definitely doing like multiple on the weekends because he has a regular running group he meets with. But this is just, dude. Yeah. When this broke, I sent him I was over the moon happy for him.
So I saw it on Twitter over the weekend when somebody that ran with him said, participating in Goat's completion of the every single street. So our friend, which I always known him as Rancid Goat, and turns out that that's just his nickname.
Yeah, it's funny because everyone. It is funny. Like and what's funny is like to this day, if you meet him. And you're like, hey man, what's your name? He will answer you. Oh, it's Goat. Everyone calls me Goat, and it's true. Everyone legitimately knows him as Goat to the point where you've known him for half a decade, damn near probably. And you've always known him as Goat. I only knew his name was Doug because one day when shortly after he and I first met, I'm like, listen, dude, all right, all fun and game, your name is Goat, but just out of sheer respect of you and your mom and dad, like what the f is your name? And he's like, oh, Doug. And I'm like, cool. All right. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, So anyways.
So Doug just completed over the weekend his project of every single street. And I don't know if most people might know this already. Ricky Gates, several years ago, maybe 6 years ago, did a project called Every Single Street in San Francisco, where he ran that's exactly what he did. Like over the course of a certain amount of time, he ran every single street, and his was like a little over 1,300 miles for San Francisco. Well, the Goat, Doug Owsley, how do you pronounce his name? Owsley. He did every single street in Columbus, Ohio, and so it amounted to 10,947 city streets. And the mileage that he covered, and he did this in, they said a little less than 3 years, I think, right?
Yeah. 3 years plus or minus, yeah.
And he covered 7,392 miles in the pursuit of every single street, Columbus. And he completed it over the weekend. And I think he purposely planned this, but what were the streets that he finished at? The cross streets?
Columbus in Ohio. Columbus Street, Ohio Ave. And now here's the other thing, right? Is that picture right there is phenomenal. And if you're listening on the podcast, so the way he kept track of this is there is a app or there's a website called City Strides, which is a really, really, really cool software anyways. Like the software it does this is amazing. But you can once you finish a run, if you have the connection to City Strides, it will literally pick it up and it's like, cool, you've marked off this street. But City Strides will even tell you, hey, you still need this street, you still need that street. So you can literally see where you need to go to knock stuff out. It's really if any of our listeners out there want to do something weird and they want a new little weird little habit to pick up, download City Strides. It is weirdly addictive. It is weird. It is just a weird, fun little thing to do. But yeah, Doug would find streets that he needed. And listen, I'm not going to tell you that Columbus is the kindest, gentlest city in the United States. I mean, it's the 14th largest in the U.S., right? And just like any other city that size, we got one or two bad neighborhoods. And the wild thing is Go would wake up and go knock out miles down these wild streets and these wild avenues. And it's funny because in the article that the Dispatch did, which is a great article from the Dispatch,
I'll link it in the show notes.
Yeah, he even kind of alludes to you see some wild stuff, running down these streets.
Yeah,
and it's funny because the funny thing is for folks who've never ran a Goat does enjoy himself some 3-inch and 5-inch split running shorts. So he tends to run in kind of short shorts too, which is really kind of funny, And he's a pretty tall, lanky cat. So it's just a really funny thing. But to the last thing, for the folks who don't know Goat, he is just one of the funniest, quirkiest. He's such an interesting dude. And his mind works in that way where I guarantee you the day he decided I'm going to do this, the day he decided that he's going to knock out all of Columbus was also the exact same day. He's like, you know what? Columbus and Ohio intersect. When I finish this, that's where I'm at. I would there's not a doubt in my mind that he somehow magically knew the day he was going to do it. He also knew I'm going to finish at Columbus and Ohio where it intersects. And the way the photo is done right there is just absolute. I mean, honest to God, if that's not his running avatar for everything,
persona,
it's so perfect. It says Columbus, Ohio, the way it lines up. Anyways, I mean, just I'm over the moon, happy for him, proud of him, the amount of due diligence and effort and precision. It's so effing cool. It's just such a good story. I love it. I'm so happy for him for this.
Yeah.
Such a cool accomplishment.
Very well put. It's super impressive. And yeah, I agree. Goat is he's just one of the quirkiest, fun guy, always great to talk to him. He's just fun guy to hang out with. So
I will also say I'm also in a weird kind of way proud to think that I helped him knock out some of these streets, because back in the day when we used to do a birthday run, when Johnny Flores lived in Columbus, that we used to do birthday runs with him that started at different breweries and ran from one brewery to another brewery. And we always did a 50K. So we did 50Ks that went from brewery to brewery to brewery. And then
I remember when you guys did that.
Yeah, and Doug used to join for a lot of those, and we knocked off. One year we started, for those of you who know Columbus, we started way over in Gahanna. We went from Gahanna, skirted by the airport, came into downtown Columbus, went over to the bottoms, hit Land Grant down downtown Columbus at the bottoms, right? So you had to go all the way through downtown Columbus, hit Land Grant, and then we hopped on the OT, went all the way up to Worthington, and then ended at Zaptig, outside of 270. No, Zaptig's just barely inside 270. But anyways, we started way at Gahanna, went all the way to downtown, and then went all the way north. And so Doug, 99.9% positive, Doug was on that whole 50K with us. So
nice.
Maybe he pumped out a shoot or two there. Maybe, I don't know.
You were part of it,
But goddamn, I just love the story for him. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. I'll link the story in the show notes if any of the listeners want to check it out.
And listeners, if listeners want to hit him up, we'll tag him. We'll put his. He's definitely on Instagram. We'll put his handle on Instagram. Slide up in his DMs, give him a little attaboy. He'll love it.
Yeah, he will. And his Strava handle is Rancid Goat, which I just love because that's his nickname is Cidgoat, and but he does it, Rancid Goat on Strava. So.
I mean, who else is going to have? Like, he can probably have that handle on any social media platform that exists. I mean, who in their right mind has a handle of Rancid Goat?
Yeah,
Doug Owsley. That's who does.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Exactly. All right. Well, shall we get into some race results?
Yeah, because we got some really cool races. Like, we got some old school races this week too.
That's right. We're starting off with Massanutten, which is in Virginia's Shenandoah Valley. And this race has been going on for 28 years through the George Washington National Forest in the Shenandoah Valley. It has 18,000 feet of climbing. I know people that have done Massanutten, but I haven't been a part of it or been on those trails or anything. I think that they're pretty technical, but I don't know the details about it. But Stephen Knight won in 20 hours and 59 minutes, and Justinia Wilson was first for the ladies in 23 hours and 22 minutes.
I mean, I think that in itself, what you just said, when you talk about is it technical and like how technical it is, what you just said tells you exactly that, yes, it is an extremely technical course. I am like as a matter of fact, no, I do know this. I have only by proxy ran on some of the trail, only by accident. I've ran on some of the Massanutten trails because Old Dominion does overlap just a smidge. Old Dominion is
okay.
Yeah, Old Dominion is largely like right 85%. It's probably 80 to 85% road. Like Old Dominion is a ton of now it's like dirt road, but it's road.
Sure.
And when you do hit trail, there is definitely stretches of Massanutten, and it's funny because like the entire time you're on the trail, you're like, "F this nonsense."
Yeah,
I can't wrap
slow
my head
going.
and, like, dude, it's brutal. It's brutal. Just like they're like it's like they went and harvested rocks and put them on the trail. They're like, hey, it'd be funny, a big ass boulder right here.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of like toe grabbers and dude, I can't.
The trip hazards just send shivers up my body.
I can't wrap my head around like Massanutten. You just got to be like, you have got to be like, you got to be physically strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and you just got to be willing to like, I'm going to live in this pain cave and I'm just going to suffer and I'm going to be physically strong and mentally strong and just get through this.
Be persistent. Yeah.
You are not running fast. Well, I mean, maybe you are running fast. You're making a career decision if you want to run fast, but I mean, it's nuts. Like big shout out to Massanutten. Like that's a wild course.
Yeah, for sure. Next race that we're going to look at is Crewel Jewel. Crewel Jewel is a hard rock qualifier. I think we've talked about it on a previous episode.
First year is a hard rock qualifier, correct?
No, I think they've been the only that was Hellbender. Hellbender was
Hellbender's the new one. Yeah.
Crewel Jewel has for a long time was the only East Coast hard rock qualifier. They've been one for a long time, and they have 33,000 feet of climbing, which is the same as hard rock.
Yeah,
it's just at a lower altitude. But the trails, I think, are very technical from what I've read. I know Steve Hanna's did Crewel Jewel the 1 year.
Yeah, I paced him from. I think I paced him from the halfway mark, which, oh, by the way, the halfway mark is not the halfway mark because you actually come in at the cabin at the turnaround at like mile 40, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a nice little out and back that is just, oh my God, dude! On the way back,
you do it on the way back.
Yes. So
not on the way out.
Correct.
Okay.
So you start at point A, you go out to point B. There's like a cabin out there, like a cabin. you know what I mean? Like I can't think of the right word. Like you can have cookouts and meetings and shit like that.
Shelter.
Right? Shelter. Yes, thank you. It's
No
big.
problem.
It's big enough that people can sleep in it, right? You can take naps there and all that kind of stuff. And like they even advise that you do take naps because you do have a healthy cutoff on this. Like
I think it's 48 hours.
Yeah, it's an MF of a race. But like so, anyways, but like I want to say the turnoff is like the turnaround rather is not halfway point because on the way back you have this like spur. You have like this little out and back that you have to do on the way back. And dude, let me tell you, I think you and I've actually joked about this on other episodes. I was pacing Steve when we were heading back and we had to go down the out and back. And I shit you not, I was almost like, yo, I'll sit here on this rock and wait for your ass to come back up that motherfucker. Like I was like, dude, this thing, it was a monster of a like you. And for the folks who like know land nav, like maybe there's a fellow like grunt out there that knows this stuff. You know, like land nav, you know, you have like spurs, right? You have spurs and draws. And this thing was basically going straight down a spur. And then went straight down all the way down to the valley. Yep. You basically, I think there's an aid station down there. It might have just been a water drop. Bloop, and right back up. And so the real kick in the teeth was as you're going down it, you could just see the faces of pain coming back up. And you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Like that's that's what's in store.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it is. I'm telling you, Crewel Jewel, man, you'd be hard pressed to find a harder 100 east of the Mississippi. Like it's just insane to wrap your head around. And again, every 100 has like their thing that makes them hard, right? Like,
right.
Oh my God, Crewel Jewel, and it gets crazy because it can be like super hot, it can be super cold. I mean, obviously it could be rain. It is just man, oh man, it is a heck of a race.
Yep. So it's 105.9 miles. It's in the Chattahoochee National Forest in the North Georgia mountains. It's 95 miles of trail, 11 miles of mountain roads, and 20 aid stations. It is an out and back, with the exception of that spur on the way back. You will experience tough and sometimes technical single track trails, ferns and old growth poplar trees, steep ascents, even steeper descents, historic steel bridge.
Yep.
The dragon spine, lush green hardwood forests, rocks, roots, and ridge lines. 33,000 feet of climbing. And they have a 50 miler out there too. And that 50 miler is point to point. I guess they would probably just start at the second half and go to the finish. That has 15,000 feet of climbing. So no joke of a 50 miler.
And you and I have jokingly talked about this. It's the East Coast. So the word switchback does not exist. Like, I mean, there are switchbacks, but they are not switchbacks like they're not.
It's not like the mountain bike trail at Mo.
Yeah, it is not. It is not a nice sweeping switchback. Yeah. It might be like a switchback. You're like, oh, that was nice. Oh, look, we're right back into climbing. It is that race, man. I just respect the hell out of that race. It is so hard.
Yeah. So this guy that won, Ben Quattromoni, he crushed it, dude. 21 hours and 41 minutes.
That's flying.
And just to say how good that is, he finished 2.5 hours ahead of second place, who is Pete Mortimer, who is like a super, he's pretty elite.
Superhuman.
Runs for errr, former winner of Hurt 100. He's usually on the podium at most 100-mile races, So yeah, that guy, Ben Quattromoni, he just tore it up. First place for the ladies was Sarah Ostaszewski, 24 hours and 50 minutes, which that's outstanding. And let's see, second place for the ladies, Madeline Nones, 27 hours, 43 minutes. So
You know what's
Congrats.
kind of funny about Ben is the dude is from Rhode Island.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah. So like, where's he getting his like what is he just going out there and hammering bridges to get elevation in? Like, where is he getting his elevation in at? And as he's heading, like maybe I don't know how far of a drive it is from Rhode Island out to New Hampshire or Vermont. Maybe he's going out there to do it.
Yeah, could be.
Maybe, but like I mean, the dude is from Rhode Island. Like that is insane. And I mean, he's not even used to that course, or maybe he is. Like maybe I don't know. Maybe the dude does go down there more often or something like that. I don't know. But the other thing that you said that I thought was kind of funny, and I had kind of forgotten this thing about this race until you just said it, and it sparked in my memory. The 106-mile thing, I think, is a very, 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 we'll add one more on there, very low ball estimate of what the race is.
Okay.
Like there has been people who've like I got like 110, I got like 112. Like that race is like it is.
Yeah.
The guy who runs it's pretty cool too. Like the guy who runs it is like he's not a dick, but he's definitely like maniacally old school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's like,
oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and like people are like, how far is the race? He's like, I don't know, from there to there. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, shit, if I know. The race is from where we're sitting right now out to there, and then back. That's how far the race is.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
And he's like, it is what it is, man. Like I don't know. He's like, it's like we wanted to run a race that started here. We wanted the race to go to there, and we wanted to come back. That's how far the race is. You're like, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome. It is really.
Ben, looks like he won Eastern States in 2021. And yeah, he got third at Cascade Crest out in Washington, which is another hard rock qualifier.
So the dude loves himself some hard mountain running. Like he likes that. He likes that technical, like up and downy. Like
and he got 14th place male at Black Canyon last year, 2023, the year when we ran it.
Yeah.
He ran.
Oh, we saw him. We probably finished right around him.
right. Yeah. Totally. He got first at Heiner, dude. Heiner 50K this year.
Dude. So I mean, listen, and again, I know we got Oregon and Cali and Washington catching up to my Ohio folks, but we got the Virginia people representing. If you don't know about Eastern States,
Pennsylvania,
me tell you,
technical
man.
race.
Oh,
our friend Chaz is running this year.
Chaz has not this weekend.
Oh, next weekend.
Next weekend.
World's
he
End.
Has World's End,
and that's an eat your lunch race too. World's End.
That is a smack you in the mouth and eat your lunch kind of race. Some people some people will say that's harder than Eastern States.
I think that's the only race that AJW has ever DNF'd.
Dude,
is World's End.
Wrap your head around that.
Yeah.
Could you imagine a race that AJW is like, you know what? I'm done. And then you being like dumb enough to be like, oh, fuck it, I'm not even run it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? No.
Yeah.
No.
So he did, insane. Got first at Heiner, which is how many people run Heiner? Like 1,000.
A ton. Yeah.
Like 1,000 run that 50K or something. Or maybe it's 500 for the 50K and 1,000 for the 25K. But hey, it's a lot of people.
The first place woman at Crewel Jewel, Sarah Ostaszewski.
Yeah.
Do we know? Like, why does that name ring a bell?
It does look familiar.
Like she's from Flagstaff.
OSTAZ.
She's from Flagstaff. Like that name rings a bell.
So first at Crewel Jewel, fourth at Zion this year at the 50K, 11th at Run Rabbit Run in 2023. Oh, dude, she got first place ladies at Ouray in 2023. That's a tough race, dude.
She's another one. Like it's
third overall.
Dude, there are just people who are like, give me all of the misery. Give me all of it. Like Ulray's another one. Like I can't wrap my head around going out and doing Ulray. And like the other one is crazy as hell, and it's gaining popularity, and it's out around Ulray. Is that lonesome 100? I think it's called.
High lonesome.
So, yeah, and I want to run that race just because I mad respect their FU attitude toward UTMB.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what? I'm going to DNF your race, but here's my money because like I love your attitude toward UTMB. Like what a cool group.
It is. And one more thing about Sarah. Last year, 2023, she got first place female at Cocodona 250.
So that's maybe where I knew her name, but I knew her name sounded really, 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 really familiar. Like,
yeah.
Good Lord, man. Like, just another person is like, give me all the vert and give me all the technical, and I will eat it for lunch.
Yeah.
And it's just funny, like when you think about those guys, there's just people who are that's what they're good at. They're good at the slower, grindy, kind of like physically strong kind of races. And then there's people who are like, I mean, give me Western States now, burn it down for 18 hours, like not even like 15 hours. You know what I mean? Yeah. Give me Olmsted, and I'll burn it down for 13 hours.
Yeah, and she does have some speed too, because she's won across the years marathon.
Oh yeah, there you go.
In the past. Oh, and she got first place, ladies, at Mugian Monster 100 in 2021. That's another tough, grinding, technical Arizona 100 miler.
Yeah, way up northern Arizona, right? Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So congrats to everybody out at Crewel Jewel. Maybe one of these years I'll do that for my Hard Rock qualifier. I don't know.
I'll come down and throw stuff at you.
Yeah. Come down and lash.
Yeah.
All right. The next race we're looking at is Bryce Canyon Ultras, and this takes place right outside of Bryce, the national park, where the hoodoos are, those like cool rock formations. Now, I couldn't find anywhere like what the elevation gain is at Bryce. Bryce 100 elevation gain. I couldn't figure that out. This says, I don't know. 800 feet of vertical gain.
That can't be. I mean, maybe for like
a section. 14,000. Yeah. Okay. So it's not like a crazy mountain race or anything, but it takes place right outside the park. I guess you get some views of the canyon. So Art Hurtado won the 100 miler in 19 hours, 42 minutes. Lori Brindley won for the ladies 26 hours and 1 minute. And then they have a 50 miler, which Nate Jukes, the guy that passed Hans Troyer right at the end of Black Canyon.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Nate Jukes got first in the 50 miler, 7 hours 41 minutes. Lauren Kersey's got first in the 50 miler for the women, 9 hours 21 minutes. And then in the 50K, Daniel Jones from New Zealand, who's having a pretty good year, got 4 hours and 19 minutes. And then Jackie Hendrickson, 5 hours 46 minutes.
So I wonder if it's like just super hot out there this year, because like you said, it's not crazy high elevation, but it's not like those times are blistering fast either. You know what I mean? I wonder if it's just really hot this year or what. Like, I'm not surprised at some of those times.
Could be. I don't. If it's on like roads around the park, I can't imagine it's like super technical. But But I don't really know. Yeah. Next up, Silver State, which is the reason I want to talk about Silver State. It's in Reno. This race dates back to 1988. It's like one of the OG OG 50 milers. Tom Sullivan won the 50 miler in 6 hours 45 minutes, and Dia Davis won for the women in 9 hours and 38 minutes. A lot of people use Silver State as a training run for like Western states, or Tahoe 100, and then 50K.
What's kind of cool. What's kind of cool about it is it's kind of it's an old school race, in the fact that it's good thing, bad thing, I guess, however you want to look at it, or what side of the coin you're on. But it's so old school, it's already cycled back through, that it's not like the cool race to go run. Because if you look at like all your finishers, they're all from Nevada, they're from NorCal.
Yeah,
like almost all of them. Like it takes you a minute. There's one dude from Washington I see. There's one dude from Nebraska, but outside of that, it is like Nevada and California, like all of them. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of cool. And like I said, they're all Northern Cal folks too, if they're from Cal, or they're all Reno or Carson City. And it's like it's kind of a cool race in that sense too.
It is a very very family oriented race, and localized, as you were mentioning. I see like one person here from Nebraska, and that's like, maybe one from Washington is like the only outliers. So, but yeah, that is cool. I didn't notice that before. Next race we're gonna look at is Yamacraw, and I think, didn't Yamacraw eat your lunch last year?
Yeah, I can't remember if it's last year. I think it was last year. Where I just had, honest to God, last year might have been my worst year running, and ever. Like Yamacraw, like I think I was coming off of an injury, going into Yamacraw already. Like so it might not have been last year. It might have been the year before. But I was coming off an injury. Oh no, it wasn't last year, because last year I ran muck with you, so it must have been the year before. Maybe,
I think it was
anyway.
No, it was 2 years ago we ran muck. So
so maybe it was last year that Yamacraw. I don't know. So at some point in recent history, Yamacraw jumped up and and like it's dude, it's crazy. It's a 50. Well, it's supposed to be a 50K, but I think it's like this says it's closer to 40.
Yeah,
but like
it's a 40 mile. It's a 40-mile race.
Yeah. So like I was out on the run, and I was like, you know what? Like I got to like mile 18. And like I said, I was way out of shape, way out of shape to be going down and trying that race. But like I got to mile 18, and I was like, fuck this shit. Fuck. I was like, I'm just done. And I just sat there. I was like, I'm going back to the finish line. But yeah, it is the shortest race I've ever DNF'd. And I was just like, I am. I mean, I wasn't hurt. I was just miserable. I was just unhappy and not having fun.
You were just over it. You were done with it.
Well, and the funny thing is, I actually did fall and bust my ass, because the really cool thing about Yamacraw, is it is, first off, that race is in the middle of nowhere. I mean, the middle of nowhere. It's on the southern border of Kentucky, the northern border of Tennessee, like Kentucky-Tennessee border. It is out there.
Wow, that is out there.
Yeah, and so you start the race, and like this, like they like you meet at this like school or like this community center, and they bus you out to like this trailhead, and like if I lived around where that trailhead is, I'd be like, damn it, here comes Yamacraw. I get like the amount of buses up and down this little itty bitty road. You start there and you take off, and like it is really pretty. And you run through some big, huge rhododendrons, which, if anyone knows me, I am horny for rhododendrons. Like, they're my favorite plant. So like you get to run through big, huge rhododendron growth and like all this stuff. But the other thing that's kind of cool about it is you do spend a lot of it down in like kind of down in a valley. But there's like when I describe it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking. You know how like there's like the little streams that come across out of those little valleys, like, and you kind of like, there's usually like a flat one or two rocks that you step on. Like it's
little tributaries.
There's a boatload of those. Dude, I stepped on a rock and my foot went out from underneath me, and I straight busted my ass on a piece of like slate in front of me. And,
Oh my
like
God.
that set the tone already. And I was already miserable.
Yeah.
I got to that 18-mile like aid station. I'm like, negative. But anywho, it is one of those sneaky races that it'll jump up and get you. I mean, by no means is it
So the races
going to a trade-in.
The race is point to point, like you said, through the Daniel Boone National Forest to Big South Fork National River. So does it take place on some of the same trails as No Business?
It does. It does.
Okay.
And the other thing, and so I think it does. The other thing that's really cool is, well, because No Business is in that big, huge park, right? And like No Business has her. And like just for the folks who don't know, and like I think you know that No Business is one giant ass 100-mile circle.
Yep.
And so this
through Tennessee
might,
and Kentucky.
Yeah, it is huge. And so this might like flirt with some of the trails, or it might like cross or run a little stretch. The other thing that this is really, really, really close to is Dark Sky. When Dark Sky 50-miler used to exist, this is really close to that. And like all three, is Yamacraw and No Business might be the same RD. They might be the same race directors.
It's very possible because that's in that area. So
it's in that area. And by the way, that RD also phenomenal human being. Like he's kind of from around that area, but he's really not. And like the whole reason he puts these races on in that area is because it is a really, really under, it is way like it's really poor. And like this whole thing is like, I just want to give back to this community.
Wow,
that's really cool. Like it is a cool. If you're east of the Mississippi, if you ever want to come out and just run a cool old school 50K-ish 40-miler, Yamacraw's pretty dope. It's a pretty cool race.
Yeah, and No Business is great too. That sells out every year. So
No Business, a man eater. And if you do No Business both directions, you get a buckle, like a different buckle. Like you get like a, like the second time when you do the other way, you get like your finisher buckle, but you also get another buckle.
Yeah, so it's kind of like Hard Rock. They do it in the opposite direction every year. It's a 100-mile loop. So the winner of Yamacraw 40-mile was Michael Ulig in 6 hours and 57 minutes. And for the ladies, it was Cassandra Campanella, 8 hours, 25 minutes. All right. So before we talk about the next race, I do want to just go back to Crewel Jewel for a minute because I left something out and I want to make sure we give credit. Both Ben and Sarah, the winners, both set course records. So that 21:41 and that 24:50 were men and women course records. So
by the way, Sarah, it's funny you say, because I just now noticed it too, shattered the record. Like she beat the record by 1:45 for the women.
Wow. Yeah, that's that's smoking it. Cool. Well, congrats to them. And one of the last races we're going to talk about is the Keys Ultras, right? So this race, I think, has been going on for a while. I always hear about it every year. It's a road race, and basically it goes from 100 miles north of Key West down to Key West, I'm pretty sure. And it's a point to point. And like, I've done that drive from Miami to Key West 3 times. Okay. That's some of those sections of road. I'm just like, I don't know if I would want to be running on, to be honest with you. But something bad did happen. Some tragedy did strike this year, which we'll get to in a minute. But first we'll go over the winners. For the men, Rafael Villarreal won the 100-miler in 20 hours, 44 minutes. And Odera Sousa Sa won for the women in 22 hours and 33 minutes. The 50-miler, Yana Babacolas, won 9 hours and 3 minutes. And Emily Sidor, 12 hours and 42 minutes. And then the 50K, Alberto Grande, fit 4 hours 58 minutes, and Whitney Dancaster in 5 hours 50 minutes. So congrats to them. But worst fear about a road ultra where there's traffic is somebody getting hit by a car. Well, it happened this year at the Keys race. I just learned about this right before we started recording. Jared Beasley shared a Twitter post from Joshua Holmes asking the running community to pray for 2 runners who were hit by a car during the Keys 100. They were airlifted to a trauma center in Miami. It is on an open road from Highway US 1 from Key Largo to Key West. So Jared Beasley was asking if anybody had updates, and it turns out that one of the runners had to have part of his arm amputated, unfortunately. And they're not sure about the other runner. So yeah, it's just pretty terrible. Like you gotta implement as many safety features as you can for stuff like that. And like every race has its challenges, right? You have mountain races, which weather can screw you up, or road races with traffic. So just really unfortunate event. Sorry to hear that happened.
Yeah, that's there's just nothing you can say. That really sucks. So we'll retweet out the thing from Jared. So if you want to look at what Joshua Holmes had initially tweeted, you can take a look at it, see if there's anything to be done, see if there's anything that you can help out with. We'll be sure to tweet that out. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and do that while we're sitting right now.
Okay, great. Yeah. All right. So maybe a little lighter topic. I learned about this race, the Loud Thunder 50, and they have this unique thing at the beginning of the race called Pass the Pickle. And so this guy, Philip Heald, he gets a head start. 4 minutes and 20-second head start. And in the 50, the Loud Thunder 50 half marathon. So it must be one of the events in the Loud Thunder 50.
Yeah.
So the Pass the Pickle guy, Philip Heald, starts 4 hours and 20 seconds, or 4 minutes and 20 seconds for everybody else. And if anybody can pass him in the first 2 miles, they win $50. So previous year, 2 runners were successful.
Just 2?
Yeah. This guy might be fast. I don't know. But the race director was a bit nervous this year. While Pickle Phil is a beast on a bike and an experienced runner, he hasn't been able to train like he has in past years. So Phil arrived specifically for the event after spending 6 months working as an electrician at the McMurdo station in Antarctica. And we knew he hadn't been able to bring his bike, and based on the sub-zero temps, likely wasn't going for daily jogs. Josh was reasonably concerned that he may not financially recover from this stunt. Kind of like the Red Lobster thing where they had to file for bankruptcy because of the unlimited shrimp.
No, wait. All right, so like a whole different topic other than ultra running and trail running, right?
Yeah.
I just heard the craziest thing about Red Lobster and why they had to file for bankruptcy.
The unlimited shrimp, right?
No, it was not the unlimited shrimp. It is much more like, this is horrible. It's actually really it's kind of diabolical. All right. So we're going to go on like a little timeout about the, like, I know we are 50 minutes into it, but I'm going to keep this as fast as I can. Red Lobster is bought by a venture capital group, right? It's bought by this group. Boom. Place buys it. They don't buy Red Lobster, so to say. they buy the land that all the Red Lobsters are on.
What?
So they went through and bought all the physical land that Red Lobsters were on because Red Lobster's a franchise, so you're not really buying it.
Okay.
They then raised all of the rent to all of the Red Lobsters, making it hard for the place to like stay afloat. Then they took another step and they said, "Oh, look, we have a company who buys and sells shrimp or something in our portfolio that has like some shrimp that is like a little like, huh?" And they kind of made them sell that shrimp. And so they did all these things that basically made it to where like Red Lobster as a company, even though they owned it, they like this big, huge, like it's not a hedge fund, but this big group of like this company basically bought it, sucked all of the blood out of it like a tick, got everything they could out of it, and like they basically sunk their own company. It was like, cool, we sucked all the juice out of that. File for bankruptcy, and then like we'll just shell it off. Like it is not. Like, it was like
that's just that's cold hearted, man.
Yeah, dude. I have to try to go back and figure out where I heard that story or where I saw it, but it is next level diabolical. Anywho,
wow.
Back yeah.
That's amazing. Like just amazing this day and age, you know. Like
yeah.
All right. Well, do a LazCon update. LazCon or Lazarus Lake, Gary Cantrell doing his Transcon across America was he just entered Illinois a couple hours ago. So
ooh,
he knocked out Indiana, I guess. And now he's in Illinois. And there he is. So moving along. I think he was 700 and some miles in, I thought I read. Speaking of Laz, Jared Beasley just announced that he's received a book deal and he's writing a book about Laz, which is kind of cool.
That is cool.
It's an honor to tell the story of Lazarus Lake, his races, and those rare souls that braved the Barkley Marathon, Big's Backyard, and his other races. And he has a crazy past too, so that's going to be a must read. That'd be pretty cool. And Jared Beasley is a pretty good writer. Like I mentioned in another episode, I read his book about Al Howie, that ultra runner that lived in Canada for most of his life, and he did a lot of like the flat, like multi-day stuff. And he did a Transcon. He had the Transcon record across Canada until Dave Proctor broke the record like 2 years ago. So, okay. So yeah, look for that book. Well, he just received the deal. So I guess fall of 2025, we should expect it. All right, now for a little more news. This is interesting. Cocodona 250 for 2025 is sold out.
Dude, that's
already.
Crazy.
And
that's
crazy. I was watching the live stream and they opened registration for 2025 during the race this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
During the live stream. And there's 200, they allow 250 entrants into the 250 miler, and that's sold out. Now they do have the other distances. They have the 125 and Eldon Crest 38. There's still spots left in that, but man, if you were on the fence about signing up for the 250 and you didn't do it, like you're SOL.
Yes. You know who did get in on it?
Mr. Griggs,
our boy Petey Griggs.
That's right. He's got to get some redemption.
Yeah. Pretty excited for that.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely will be excited for that. All right. This other race that I don't know, you may or may not have heard of, this isn't an ultra, but I thought is worth mentioning on the show because this race takes place in San Francisco. It's called Bay to Breakers. Okay. It's been going on since 1912. It's a roughly 7-mile race it starts downtown, near the bay, and it goes out to the ocean, which is like the breakers, out to Ocean Beach. This race is crazy. It's been known like throughout the decades, like especially in the 80s, it was this huge party. I mean, people pushing kegs down the street. I mean, and everybody dresses up in costumes. There's naked people everywhere. It's insane, right? So this year we were trying to get over to East Bay to go to a movie screening at Pixar for a movie that hasn't been released yet because our friend works at Pixar. And we couldn't get out of town. Like every single street to get to the Bay Bridge was closed because of this race. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, it took us like an hour and a half just to get out of San Francisco. But anyways, this race is really cool. I do want to do it one year. I haven't done it yet. We went up to Golden Gate Park and watched it last year. We just took chairs up there and just watched all the people going through. And there was just like some crazy costumes.
I mean, that's probably a solid like couple hours worth of watching.
Oh, yeah, many hours. Like, yeah. And it is hilarious because but there's a contingent of people doing the race that don't even finish because they just end up partying and just
at a bar or like drop out somewhere.
Well, like they'll have like crew and Golden Gate Park, and they'll just pull off and just be boozing and partying, and there's it's crazy, man. Like people are partying. This website says how to prepare for beta breakers. It says don't dress warmly, be prepared for nudity. Oh crap. Stay hydrated, pace yourself, wear a costume, transportation, make pit stops, be respectful, have a blast. So SF Gate had some of the costumes from this year. Ken and Barbie, of course,
Of course.
Shrek. Here's the worm, dude. The worm from, I don't know if you've seen Dune.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So check out this shot of the worm. That's just some like random partying going on. Here's this worm, dude. Oh, I'm not sharing it. Okay.
Here it is.
Oh.
Just it's like not even really a run. It's more like there's like a roving party. It's just like a rolling party.
It is totally. Oh, here it is. Look at this thing. So the worm from Dune is like multiple people. So that's actually a category of race. If you can involve multiple people in one costume, you're in another race category. So yeah, it's just crazy. And there's a liquor store like a half mile into the race or a mile into the race, and he says, that guy that owns it or whatever, says he makes like more money that day than he does like
the whole year,
any other day
That's
of the
awesome.
year. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, big party. It'd be fun to get a group to do it sometime. It's lots of shenanigans going on. And yes.
Speaking of runs, races that are not really like, I mean, this race is a race, but it's not an ultra. But speaking of like kind of, did you see who took second place at Cleveland Half Marathon?
Was it Harvey Lewis?
No, Sage Kennedy.
Sage Kennedy, right? Yeah, I did see his tweet. Yeah.
What a weird like. you go from UTMB to like, you know what I mean? Like you go from, just shy of top 10 at UTMB, you know what I mean? And doing crazy stuff like that to like, I think I'm going to go just like mow down a half marathon in a scooch over an hour probably, or whatever he did. What are you doing? He did it in like 1:11. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like
so
just an interesting kind of thing.
I think he comes from a collegiate running background.
I think I remember that too. Yeah.
And he like excelled at ultra distances for a while, and then he had an injury or some physical health problems for a while, and he's coming back from that over the last year or something. So I also thought that was kind of random that Sage Canaday is running a race,
Cleveland,
a road race in Cleveland. I'm like, that's just so random. But so speaking of costumes, Costume Chick laid down a PR at this 72 hours at the fair or something. 3 days at the fair, 72-hour race. She did 151 miles dressed up like a chicken. So anyway, congrats to Charlotte.
I feel like that needs it. Speaking of, she's doing the 100K fireball shot or whatever. I feel like that needs to be a regular thing. Just like every 100K, fireball.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That fireball shot. Oh God, dude, that fireball. Oh, I definitely had what's the other version? Like before fireball, it was like red hot or something. I can't remember what it was.
Firewater, right?
Firewater. One night, long time ago, at this big bonfire out in the country, I went shot for shot of firewater with this other guy, and we finished that bottle off. Oh, big mistake. I cannot do firewater, none of those cinnamon liqueurs.
Yeah. The other one that always gave me chills was like Goldschlager. Always gave me chills.
Oh yeah, same thing. Yeah. Oh, the real gold flakes.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Last story today. Kim Sargent becomes the next person to do 100 milers. This is a pretty elite club. Okay.
Pretty amazing group right there.
Yep. In the modern era, running 100 miles in competition started to become available to anyone in the 1970s. Before 1980, no one ran dozens of 100 milers in their career, only a handful of 100s. Ultra running legend Ted Corbett ran fewer than 10 100 milers. But by the end of 1999, a few prolific ultra runners had piled up the 100-mile race finishes. Richard and Sandra Brown of England were way out front with 87 and 82, reaching 100 miles in both running and walking events. So Kim Sargent, at age 65, of Galveston, Texas, finished her 100th race of 100 miles or more on May 19th. So just a couple days ago. And she was also at 3 days at the fair. Which is where Costume Chick was. And this is in Augusta, New Jersey. And this makes her the 30th person to achieve that milestone of 100 mile finishes. So yeah, she is in very elite company. 30 people have done it. Her first 100 miler. Right. Go ahead.
We got one right here in Central Ohio.
Who's that?
Oh shit. Ronnie Deloger's yelling at his earphones right now, yelling the name of this guy at me.
Is it Ron? The Ron guy?
No. It is golly days. He also has some crazy streak of number of Columbus marathons he's ran in a row. It like dates all the way back to like 2000.
Oh,
damn. Anywho, on about Kim. I didn't mean to steal Kim's thunder here because this.
No, not at all. Yeah. So, okay, here it is. Yeah. So she started her 100-mile journey at the Arkansas Traveler 100 in 1995, and after finishing third at 1996 Rocky Raccoon, she became hooked on running 100 milers. She ended up finishing Rocky Raccoon 13 times. So, and I'll link. Go ahead.
Her PR for her best 100 miler is not that shabby. It's a 25:44.
Yeah.
At Rocky in 01.
Yeah. That's solid work. Yeah. I'm going to link this story from Ultra Running History. Shout out to Davey Crockett at the Ultra Running History website. And he breaks down all kinds of history, like fascinating website. If you're into ultra running history, but yeah, so
just real quick, because we're up against this 106 right now, but just like it's funny because I'm reading like the article with Kim here, and it mentions that she strategically targets like mostly flat or, and here's the word, kind of rolling 100 milers, and like, okay, Olmsted 100, yeah, like rolling at best, right? Arkansas Traveler, I don't know anything about Arkansas Traveler. Here's the one I'm like, rolling is maybe not the word for it. Vermont 100. She has ran Vermont 100 6 times. Well, she's finished it 6 times. Like, Vermont 100 is not the easiest 100 miler out there. Like, it's like
it's rolling. I think maybe 16,000 feet of climb.
Yeah, I mean it's a sneaky one. You know what I mean? Like it's so yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah. So
Greg Trapp.
Yeah, it's in here. The whole 30 people that have done this are listed in the article. Yeah, Greg Trapp
with at least 103.
Frederick Davis of Ohio has at least 110.
I don't even know who that is. That's a name that I don't know.
Dude, Ed Eddinghaus, the jester, has at least 250. He finished 41 in 1 year.
41 in 1 year.
The jester. Oh man, that's just crazy. The next person that's going to probably do it is Matt Watts of Colorado. He finished his 95th 100 miler in 2019. He passed away.
Wait, no.
I'm sorry. I did not know that. I did not know that.
Live reading here, folks. Live reading.
Yeah, I'm learning as everyone else is learning about this. So my apologies. That is sad. Matt Watts was 5 away. Yeah, that's
still a hell of an accomplishment.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of cool because if you scroll down, it even gives like a really cool like bio about each of these folks too.
Yeah, and Davey Crockett, the ultra running history guru, is in here. 108. Pam Reed. Yeah.
You know, it's they bring up Catra Corbett. I have not heard from her in a really long time. Her and her Dotson hounds that she has. I haven't heard from her in a really long time.
Yeah. Yeah, she has a new Dotson hound, but yeah, it's her. I haven't heard much from her. Are we following her on our Instagram?
I don't think we
Instagram page. We should do that if we're not. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm not sure what she's been working on lately. But yeah, no, there's a lot of big names. This is a very elite company, and I know Cidgoat is trying to get there. He's not too far off.
Yeah.
All right. Well, congrats to Kim on her 100 miler, and we're just about out of time, so that worked out good.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything to add today?
I don't. I'll just wrap it up with one final big congrats to Goat and Kim.
Yep.
Like some really cool accomplishments. Costume chick on hitting her PR. So
Yeah.
some really cool accomplishments this week. Folks have knocked out. I did tweet out. If you're not following us on Twitter, find us on Twitter. I did tweet to see if there's like a GoFundMe for them. So let us know, kind of what you find out, what you see. But other than that, really appreciate all the support, all the love. Keep spreading the word about us. Hit us up on the socials, and let us know. Let us know what some of the races you're running, what you might be interested in. But other than that, no. Thanks everybody, and big happy birthday one last time to my man Jamie Farley over there.
Thank you. And as I mentioned earlier, I'll link the articles about Goat and his Every Single Street Columbus from the Columbus Dispatch, and also I'll link the article from Ultra Running History about Kim Sargent and her 100 miler. So, all right, thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you on the next one.